Welcome. In today's session, we are going to look at the degradation of sphingolipids. Also, some sphingolipids are also known as, under sphingolipids, we also have others known as glycosphingolipids and some associated lysosomal storage diseases. These enzymes, which usually catalyze the degradation of sphingolipids, are mainly found in the lysosome. Hence, if we have a deficiency or faulty, if those enzymes are faulty, there will be accumulation of these sphingolipids in the lysosome. So that is why they are known as lysosomal storage diseases. And find others also, other texts which refer them as lipidosis, because essentially sphingolipids contain lipids, so lipidosis. So there will be very important abbreviations which I need you to understand as we go through this session. Where you see GAL, that is galactose. Where you see GALNAC, that is N-acetyl galactosamine. Where you see GLC, that is your glucose. Where you see CER, that is your ceramide. The other name of ceramide is your N-acyl sphingosine. I will show you the structure shortly. Where you see NANA is N-acetyl neuraminic acid. Remember, N-acetyl neuraminic acid is a sialic acid. We have two sialic acids, N-acetyl neuraminic acid and the N-glycosyl neuraminic acid. Maybe you should go and look at the differences between those two. And remember the other one, the N-glucosyl neuraminic acid, has been found in cancer patients. So maybe you should look at that. These also, some texts usually refer N-acetyl neuraminic acid as 5-acetyl neuraminic acid. I will show you why it is 5, because that acetyl group is attached to a nitrogen which is at carbon number 5. Where you see GM, that is your ganglioside monocyl. So, or just call them gangliosides. Gangliosides are just complex glycosphingolipids, which are primarily found in the ganglion cells of the central nervous system. If these gangliosides, they must contain the N-acetyl neuraminic acid. If it is one, that is monocyl. Remember Cl, sialic acid. If there are two, it will be ganglioside dicyl, GD. If there are three, you can guess ganglioside tricyl, GT. But today we are dealing with the GMs, monocyls. So I think we should first look at the structure of this. Obviously, I hope you remember the structure of glucose and galactose. I said they are C4 epimers. Remember? Then I said mannose is a C2 epimer. If you haven't seen that video, please purpose to look at it. Maybe I will attach the link in the description. So let's look at the structure of those. Now here we are. Yes. Let's start down here. Now let me you can see this is your N-acetyl neuraminic acid. This is your carbon number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At carbon number 5, we have a nitrogen. Then to that nitrogen, we have attached an acetyl group. Okay. So, and you can see at carbon number 6 here, we have this. So this is L position, this group, but this is neuraminic acid. This excluding the acetyl, but the acetyl is attached to the nitrogen at carbon number 5, so it is N-acetylnuraminic acid. That is why I've said other texts will define it to 5-acetylnuraminic acid, because this is carbon number 5 here. Okay, I hope you have understood that. Then this is your galactose. I had said, you can see carbon number 1, 2, 3 here, 4. Remember, glucose and galactose, they are C4 epimers. Here should be an OH in galactose, but because here we have formed a bond that hydrogen has been removed via the condensation reaction. So you can see the position of the OH. It is usually here up, the galactose, but in glucose, it is here down. Just that is the only difference between galactose and glucose. They are C4 epimers. Remember, mannose is just like glucose, but this OH is here up. That is mannose, C2 epimer. Look at that. Then here you have your N-acetylgalactosamine. You can see here it is galactose essentially, because you can see this OH, it is at that position at carbon number 4. Then at carbon number 2, we have an NH, and is this an amide group, and acetyl. So it is N-acetylgalactosamine. Okay, that is what was easy. Then we have ceramide. I remember I said the other name of ceramide is N-acyl sphingosine. Sphingosine is an amino alcohol. So you can see here we have fatty acids, the acyl groups, and the sphingosine here. So maybe this of ceramide I should show you tentatively for you to understand what I'm saying. These structures maybe some of you might yes, here we have ceramide. You can see this one I've tried to, this one is boxed in green, that is sphingosine. This is sphingosine in black. Then these zigzags are your fatty acids. Remember, when you take ceramide and add it to phosphochlorine, that is your sphingomyelin. So remember those. So let's go back. Those were just the structures, easy structures. Let's go back to our where we were. Yeah. Now let's start here. Here we have your ganglioside monocyl 1. Just call it ganglioside. So you can see this ganglioside is composed of galactose and acetylgalactosamine. Those are we have a beta. The linkage there is a beta 1,4 glycosidic linkage. These are glycosidic linkages. Also here, this is another galactose. This is a glucose. This is ceramide, and this is your N-acetylnuraminic acid. So during the degradation, we first cleave out this galactose is removed by the beta galactosidase 1. Okay, you see it has come out, and what has remained is maybe I should after removing, we have removed this. This is what we have removed, that one. So after removing, as you can see, it is coming out here. It is coming out here. You can see that is where it is coming out, that group. That reaction is catalyzed by this enzyme, the beta galactosidase 1. Now, that reaction, if you have deficiency of beta galactosidase 1, you will have accumulation of this GM1. That it is known as the GM1 gangliosidosis. So accumulation of gangliosides and keratan sulfate. Keratan sulfate, remember, it is a glycosaminoglycan, your acid mucopolysaccharides. So one of the characteristics is neurologic deterioration. You have the gangliosides will also accumulate in the spleen and the liver, causing a condition known as hepato, that is the liver, spleen, hepatosplenomegaly. So you have a big liver and a big spleen. So you also have some skeletal deformities. Also, your macula, remember your macula is a part of the eye. Your macular rutea, part of the eye, the retina at the back of your eye is known as your macula. It will be red. You know those fruits which are known as cherries? See how red they are? So your macula will look like that. So that is gangliosidosis, accumulation of GM1. Okay. Now let's go to the other one. Yes. Now, after removal of that galactose, you form GM2. GM2 will be composed of the N-acetyl galactosamine, galactose, glucose, ceramide, and your N-acetylnuraminic acid. You have just removed the galactose from GM1. So, in the next reaction, we want to remove the N-acetyl galactosamine. This reaction is catalyzed by the beta hexosaminidase A. But beta hexosaminidase A has two subunits, an alpha subunit and a beta subunit. Now, the subunit which catalyzes the removal of the N-acetyl galactosamine from GM2 is the alpha subunit. So, if you have deficiency of the alpha subunit of beta hexosaminidase A, you will develop a disease known as SAHCs. SAHCs disease. SAHCs disease is a disease which mainly affects the Jewish Americans. In fact, its occurrence rate is 1 in every 30 Jewish American has a SAHCs disease. So you can see how serious it is. So there will be accumulation of GM2. It is characterized by rapid and progressive and fatal neurodegeneration, leading to blindness and seizure, excessive strato responses, muscle weaknesses, cherry red maculas. Also, remember the cherry red macula, we also saw it in the gangliosidosis. We will also have it can also be caused by not only deficiency of the enzyme, but also deficiency of the activator protein, the GM2 activator. Maybe you don't have the protein which activates that enzyme. So that is SAHCs disease, accumulation of GM2 due to deficiency of the alpha subunit of beta hexosaminidase A. Okay, and I hope you have seen how we are removing this, the N-acetyl galactosamine, GALNAC, the one which we are removing. Okay, now after removing, we remain with this. This is what we remain with. Now that is this. Now we are writing it in a linear form. GM3. Okay. Remember, I said the GM is your ganglioside, and for a glycosphingolipid to be a ganglioside, it must have the NANA, the N-acetylnuraminic acid. So this is GM3. Now GM3, we must remove this NANA. Now, how will we remove it? So this is what we do. This NANA here, the N-acetylnuraminic acid, also known as the 5-acetylnuraminic acid or the sialic acid, via the enzyme known as neuraminidase, we remove it. So after removing the N-acetylnuraminic, it ceases to become now a ganglioside. Remember, gangliosides must have the N-acetylnilaminic acid, and I showed you the structure. So after removing it, we remain with this compound. It has galactose, glucose, and ceramide. Now, in your disaccharides, what do you get when you combine galactose and glucose? Lactose. So this compound is known as lactosyl ceramide. Okay. So this lactosyl ceramide, we remove this galactose again via the beta galactosidase. Beta galactosidase. Remember, you have also seen this enzyme in another reaction. In the first reaction where we are removing the galactose from GM1 to form GM2. So after removing it, we remain with this compound, the glucocerebroside. This is a glucocerebroside. So glucocerebroside, now we must remove this glucose here. Now, remove of this glucose, we require this enzyme, glucocerebrosidase, or what is known as a beta glucosidase. I don't like using the beta glucosidase because people confuse it with the beta galactosidase. So call it a glucocerebrosidase so that you know it is acting on a glucocerebroside. So after removing the glucose, you remain with the ceramide. Okay. Now, deficiency of glucocerebrosidase will cause Gaucher's disease. Gaucher's disease. Now, Gaucher's disease. It is accumulation of your glucocerebrosides. It is the most common lysosomal storage disease, characterized by accumulation of glucocerebrosides in your liver and spleen, leading to hepatosplenomegaly. It can also this Gaucher's disease mainly affects non-neuronal tissue. That is a point you should remember. It mainly affects non-neuronal tissue. So you can see it is affecting the spleen and the liver. It is affecting the bones, osteoporosis, and rarely does it affect the neuronal tissue, the central nervous system. It's rare. So it is treated by the enzyme replacement therapy. ERT is enzyme replacement therapy. It is available. So that is that. Now, up to that, we have formed your ceramide. Now, let's go back and look at something else. Now, let's start here. This is a globoside. Globosides are not gangliosides because they lack the N-acetylnilaminic acid. You can see it does not have the N-acetylnilaminic acid. Let me show you just the difference. You can see the difference between globoside and GM2 is just that GM2, the ganglioside, has this, the N-acetylnilaminic. This does not have. Otherwise, they are almost synonymous. They are almost, but they are not synonymous. So, globoside, we remove the globoside during its degradation. We first remove the N-acetylnilaminic, N-acetylgalactosamine, a reaction catalyzed by the beta hexosaminidase A, but now the beta subunit. Remember, in the SAHCs, the cleavage of GM2 to form GM3 here, GM2 to form GM3 here, we were removing also a garnac. So here you are removing a garnac, but I said here it is beta hexosaminidase A, the alpha subunit. Here it is beta hexosaminidase A, the B subunit, no, the beta subunit, and also beta hexosaminidase B. So that reaction is catalyzed by those two enzymes, where we remove the garnac, the N-acetylgalactosamine. Now, deficiency of these two enzymes will cause Sanderhoff's disease. Sanderhoff's disease is accumulation of globosides and GM2. Why GM2? Because if you don't have the beta beta hexosaminidase A, you see even you can affect this reaction. So there will be also accumulation of GM2 and also globosides. So after removing it, we get this compound composed of a galactose, another galactose, glucose, ceramide. Now, we have in the next reaction, we must remove this galactose. And you can see the bond between this galactose and this other galactose is an alpha glycosidic linkage. So that reaction is catalyzed by the alpha galactosidase. Remember the other galactosidase we saw, they were beta. So alpha galactosidase deficiency, that is what is known as Fabry disease. Fabry disease. It is the only lysosomal storage disease that is X-linked. It is X-linked. The only one. The other one are autosomal recessive. But this one is X-linked. Remember that. Accumulation of globosides, red purple skin rashes, kidney and heart failure, burning pain in lower extremities, but luckily we have enzyme replacement therapy. So FABRY. Remember 2 points about FABRY. X-linked, deficiency of alpha galactosidase. Then after we have removed this galactose, you see we remain with the galactose glucose ceramide. Galactose glucose ceramide. Your lactosir ceramide. Now that was that. Now let's come back to here. Ceramide. This ceramide, I remember I said ceramide is N-acyl sphingosine. Now, ceramide is broken down by ceramidase, where we remove your fatty acid and you remain with the sphingosine. Now, if you have deficiency of ceramidase, you have Fabry disease. Don't confuse it with Fabry. This is Fabry disease, accumulation of ceramide, painful and progressive joint deformity. You have some subcutaneous nodules of lipid-laden cells. The children will have a hoarse cry, tissue granulomas. Also, your macula will be cherry red. And I want, if you have never seen a cherry, maybe you should look at the color of a cherry. You know what we are saying. Now, remember, I also said sphingomyelin. I said sphingomyelin is a conjugate of ceramide and phosphorylcholine. So phosphorylcholine and ceramide, that is a sphingomyelin. Now, sphingomyelin is broken down by sphingomyelinase to remove this phosphorylcholine. Now, if you have deficiency of sphingomyelinase, you will have the Niemann-Pick disease. There are of two types, type A and type B. But in both type A and type B, you will have accumulation of the sphingomyelin and hepatosplenomegaly. But in type A, you will also have some neurodegenerative. It will take a neurodegenerative course, so it can be characterized by mental retardation. Also, you have a cherry red macula. So remember the Niemann-Pick. Now, also ceramide, we have this sulfatide. A sulfatide is simply we have a sulfur which is added to galacto. This is now galactocerebrosidase. Sorry, this is a galactocerebroside. This is a galactocerebroside which has a sulfate group here. So that is a sulfatide. Now, this sulfatide is converted to the galactocerebroside by an enzyme known as the allyl sulfatase A. You can see we are removing this. We are removing as you can see there, we are removing. This is what we are removing. Let me take my pen. We are removing this. See, it is the one which is coming out. After removing, you remain with this. So this there you are galactocerebroside. The enzyme I've said is allyl sulfatase A. So if you have deficiency of allyl sulfatase A, you will develop what is known as the metachromatic leukodystrophy. Accumulation of sulfatide, it will lead to cognitive deterioration, demyelination. You can imagine if your axons are demyelinated. So you can imagine how the impulses will be, the action potentials will be moving very slowly there. Progressive paralysis due to that demyelination, dementia in infantile form. You know, dementia is normal in old people, but imagine you are 10 years and you already have dementia. That is bad. Also, the nerves will be staining yellow brown in chrysal violet. That is a stain. It can also be caused by the not only by deficiency of the allyl sulfatase A, but you can also have the deficiency of the activator protein. The activator protein of allyl sulfatase A is known as saposin B, just like in SAHCs. Also, we had the deficiency of that activator protein can cause. So that is that. Then after forming the galactocerebroside, it is cleaved by the galactocerebrosidase. We remove this galactose here, the one coming out here, to form your ceramide. Now, ceramide. Now, if you have that enzyme can also known as the beta galactosidase, the same as, yeah. Also, remember we met the beta galactosidase 1, whose deficiency was causing a gangliosidosis. Should remember that. So, deficiency of this beta galactosidase will cause this Krabbe's disease, or what is known as the globoid cell leukodystrophy, characterized by accumulation of the galactocerebrosides. It will also have, you will also have some mental and motor deterioration, blindness and deafness, near total loss of myelin. You will also have the macrophages in your the white matter of the brain. Remember, your macrophages in the white matter of the brain are your astrocytes, I think. You will find them, they have globoid bodies. These globoid bodies are just the glycolipid-laden macrophages. So in your white matter, so you can see that is why it is causing some mental retardation and deterioration. So those were some of the lysosomal storage disease, but of great importance, I urge you to remember the SAHCs. I also urge you to remember after remembering the SAHCs, remember also gangliosidosis. Also, remember the GAUCHERs, FABRYs, no, not FABRYs, FABRY and FABRYs. Remember there is FABRY, the alpha galactosidase, and FABA. FABA is ceramidase. Also Neyman peak. I think those ones are the important ones. You should remember all those. All in all, I hope you have understood something, and thank you guys. And subscribe for more medicine content. Thank you.